At the beginning of this post, I will show an image from one of the discussions. Yes, there is a detector in the room above the picture, which is carefully, in quotation marks, wrapped in film. It is obvious that the device has become completely useless. The second and probably the most popular version of the neutralization, again in quotation marks, is the use of anthers. Yellow factory covers sometimes remain in the room for many years after finishing work. Of course, in order for the alarm system to work, you should remove the anthers, but it doesn't come to mind to anyone due to aesthetic reasons, because they like the yellow color so much, and someone kills useful functions intentionally. Now let's take the kitchen in an apartment building as an example of the most responsible use of alarm systems. Gas is an explosive and toxic product that is distributed in unlimited quantities to the young and the old indiscriminately, both to the healthy and the sick people. Its danger is multiplied due to aging equipment, violations of operating rules, reduced concentration of odorants, etc. If there is a significant leak, 10 minutes may be enough for the gas to fill the premises and reach the ignition source. It can be a light switch or a bell button. A small spark causes an impact that only an explosion chamber can withstand. Since the pressure changes in the maze of corridors and rooms, glazing removal almost does not unload the structure. Embedded parts are torn out of reinforced concrete panels and heavy slabs fall, destroying entire sections of the building. Investigation of many accidents prove the vulnerability of passive protection and at the same time provide justification for the implementation of active systems. At the same time, it is clear that the alarm components themselves need to be protected from accidental and even more so from intentional actions. In the nature, the sense of touch is controlled by vision. Vision works together with your hearing and so exercise self-control. People try to provide alarm systems with similar technologies. Of course, video surveillance is not suitable for a residential building, and we will not be satisfied with motion sensors, since they will constantly be triggered in the presence of people. Still remain and often met are two functions: monitoring the battery charge level and control of casing breakage. Breakage sensor is simple in operating. When the case is closed, the spring presses the switch, there is no alarm. When opening the case, the spring is released, the switch is triggered, and alarm activates, and then the control room personnel decides whether to slip further or call the security company. I think that these self-diagnosis tools are not enough, and here is what we suggest adding. For the sensor installed in the kitchen, you can always find 2 or 3 directions that remain free. Let's assume that when the main sensor is working, the size of this free volume is additionally measured. So make sure that there are no obstacles, and therefore the gas in the event of a leak will get into the sensor housing. The idea is more specifically described in the patent. Here you can measure the distance A, B to the walls or ceiling. In addition, the accuracy of measurements is confirmed by the recognition of deleted barcode tags. Let's see it in action. So far, we only have a mock-up that consists of a detector and an ultrasonic rangefinder. The distance measurement is performed in a continuous mode to the perpendicular surface. Let's try to isolate the detector using a transparent shell. The sensor does not respond for a specified time, passing random interference. Then it is triggered. Sound and light alerts are intended for people in the room. If they fix the problem, the alarm is shut down. If not eliminated, the gas supply will stop and the signal will go to the control room. Now let's look at the algorithm of gas and fire alarm operation on the scheme, which shows a gas stove in the kitchen and it has the proposed sensor. All sensors of the detector, including the rangefinder, are located in a common housing. This combined device does not raise alarms only when the case is closed. The battery is charged, the distance from the walls and ceiling do not change, barcode tags are recognized, there are no harmful substances and no smoke in the air, and communication with major external components of the control is operational. Accordingly, it is possible to use gas. In the event of an alarm, people in the room have a few minutes to eliminate the cause. For example, they can ventilate the rooms. The gas will be automatically shut off by the internal valve at this time. A long alarm, more than 10 minutes, is transmitted to the control room and duplicated on a mobile phone. The dispatcher closes the external valve of the gas pipeline. I hope we have or will have such a 24/7 service. The resumption of gas supply becomes possible after the inspection of the facility. At the same time, the power supply is cut off, which significantly reduces the probability of an ignition source appearing in a fire explosive, hazardous environment. For disconnection, an automatic switch controlled by differential current is used here, which is installed in the external inter-apartment panel. As indicated in the following patent, the differential current device can be switched off by a sensor signal, even if there is no power supply in the entire building. Regardless of the mains voltage, the contacts will be disconnected due to the action of the backup battery. In general, the coordination of alarm and power supply operations should be performed to ensure both gas and fire safety. I want to call the gas and fire alarm device Gas Guard out of habit. It will be useful in the mine, in the workshop, and in the laboratory, but first of all, a sensor with a self-monitoring function is reasonably necessary in residential buildings. I want to repeat, the mistake is to ignore the volume of the room. Any sensor can easily be made useless. Similarly, dust and insects can cause the alarm system to be inactive. Control of the size of the zone in which the sensor operates is the main difference of this offer. Additional information can be found in the links to the film.